الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله
الحمد لله رب العالمين الحمد لله الحمد لله الحمد لله عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزنة عرشه ومداد كلماته ومنتهى علمه وجميع ما شاء وخلق ودرى وبرى علم الغيب وشهادة الرحمن الرحيم المالك القدوس العزيز الحكيم أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك وله الحمد يحيي ويميت بيده الخير وهو على كل شيء قدير وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم أرسله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله ولو كره المشركون أما بعد فيقول الله تعالى في كتابه لئن شكرتم لأزيدنكم ولئن كفرتم إن عذابي لشديد الحمد لله الحمد لله على نعمة الإسلام الحمد لله على نعمة الإسلام الحمد لله على نعمة الإسلام الحمد لله. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the blessing of al-Islam. We are grateful to Allah the Most High for the blessing of al-Islam. The companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to talk amongst themselves and remember how it used to be in their jahiliyyah, their period of ignorance, their period before they entered Islam. And we should do the same thing so that we remind ourselves of the ni'mah that we're experiencing right now. Because you can often take for granted your blessing if you don't remember where you came from. If you don't remember how dumb you were, how dumb I was. I'll give you an example. Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu ta'ala anhu said that in the period of Jahiliyyah that they used to, especially when traveling, they used to make their gods out of anything, including dates. So they would get dates and fashion little idols out of them. And then because they were on a journey, a lot of times food wasn't readily available. So then they would, when they would get hungry, they would eat the god that they just made, that they worshiped. He said this as a Muslim, remembering the past, remembering their Jahiliyyah, so that they can be grateful for the blessing of Islam that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had given them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لَإِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ. If you are grateful, if you are thankful, Allah will increase you. If you are thankful for a thing, Allah will increase you in that thing. That's what that verse means. Surah Ibrahim 14, verse 7. It's a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you ponder over that verse. If you are thankful for a thing, Allah will give you ziyada. Allah will give you more of that thing. لَإِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ. Think about all of the things that we have to be grateful for. The clothes you have on your back, even though it may not be the clothes that you want. You have clothes. Some people don't have clothes. The house, the shelter that you live in. It may not be the house or the shelter that you want. But there are people that have no shelter. Most importantly, the Islam that you have. You may not be the best Muslim that you think you can be, or that you think you should be, but you have Islam. The fact that you have Islam, that by itself is an indication that Allah has singled you out for His blessings. I don't know what you have been told, but the reason why you're a Muslim is because Allah chose you. You may think it's because of the family you were born in. You may think it's because of some research that you have done. And all of these things may be secondary causes. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is sababul asbab. Allah is the cause of all causes. You can't operate outside of the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If Allah didn't want you to become Muslim, you would not be Muslim. Allah singled you out for that blessing. And you have that to be thankful for. The blessing of Al-Islam. Walhamdulillah, we're thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the blessing of Al-Islam. Walhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ورضي الله تعالى عن سادة التابعين وعلماء العاملين وأئمة الأربعة المجتهدين ومفردهم إلى يوم الدين أما بعد. Alhamdulillah. Allah has blessed us with this deen, with this way of life called al-Islam. Without Islam, we would be nothing. And even if you came to Islam and you slid back, if you have this in your history, you know that the Jahiliyyah didn't taste as good as it did the first time. Because now you know better. And your conscience won't let you live, your conscience won't let you be content with that. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the ni'mah of al-Islam. One time, Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu ta'ala anhu was on his way to Al-Quds. He was on his way to Jerusalem to finalize the establishment or the opening of Islam in that area. And when he got outside of the gates, he met the general of his army, Abu Ubaidah ibn al-Jarrah. And those of you who know the history, you know how Umar traveled. He had so many patches in his stove, in his overgarment. He was taking turns with his servant, riding the animal. And by the time they reached the outskirts of the city of Jerusalem, you know that he was leading the animal and his servant was sitting on the animal. Even though his servant insisted that, you're trying to be just and fair and everything, but, you're the leader. Maybe, I'll forego my turn and allow you to sit on the animal as you make your grand entrance. Umar told him, be quiet, sit on that animal. I ain't trying to hear all that. When he got outside of the city, as we said, he met Abu Ubaidah ibn al-Jarrah. And Abu Ubaidah ibn al-Jarrah felt kind of embarrassed about the clothes he was wearing. And he said, maybe we can get you some new clothes before you walk into the city right here. Umar ibn al-Khattab punched or hit him in his chest so hard. And he said, I would expect to hear this from anyone except you. Abu Ubaidah ibn al-Jarrah is no low-level Sahaba. He's one of the 10 companions that were promised paradise. He said, Allah did not give us izzah. Allah did not raise us up and give us honor by clothes or all of these things you're talking about. Allah gave us izzah, Allah gave us honor by Islam. He gave us honor by this Quran. And so we will stick to what we were doing when the Prophet ﷺ was amongst us. That's where honor, that's where izzah comes from. A lot of us think honor and izzah comes from assimilation. A lot of times in our mind, we give logic precedence over what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has revealed. Sometimes logic and 1 + 1 = 2 is good. A lot of times it works. Sometimes it contradicts what Allah has revealed. And when there's a contradiction between what our logical minds can put together, we trust revelation. Because Allah's divine revelation is not restricted to this world. There's an otherworldly aspect of this thing. Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he understood this. This is why when he became the Khalifa, when he became the leader, he made the decisions that he made. Those critical decisions that he made early on logically did not make any sense whatsoever. Everybody, including Umar ibn al-Khattab, was against him. Look how he sent armies out. The first army, the army of Usama ibn Zayd, the beloved son of the beloved of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That army that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam just sent out to fight Al-Rum, the Romans, was camped outside of Medina when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam passed. Everybody advised Abu Bakr to call the army back and leave them here to defend the city. We got these Bedouin tribes who ain't really Muslim, and they're going to use this as an opportunity to attack Medina. We need to fortify the city. This is what everyone said. Abu Bakr, he didn't say 1 + 1 = 2, 2 + 2 = 4. He had one response to that. You want me to call back an army that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam sent forward? That was the hallmark of his khilafah. He was not going to undo anything that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did. Inshallah, brothers, we need you to move up a little bit more. We're running out of space. And you see this theme repeated over and over and over again. Like, I hear what you're saying. It makes sense. But the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did it, and I'm not going to do opposite of that. This is what gave them success. It is like Imam Ash-Shafi'i said, there's nothing remaining of the Sunnah except the following. Being grateful for the ni'mah of Islam. The way you're grateful for the ni'mah of Islam is that you practice it, that you manifest it, that you're not ashamed of it. وَأَمَّا بِنِعْمَةِ رَبِّكَ فَحَدِّثْ. As far as the ni'mah of your Lord, profess it, speak about it, manifest it. If you gave someone a gift, someone you didn't owe anything to, you just wanted to be nice to someone, maybe your children, maybe your parents, maybe a friend, maybe your husband, maybe your wife. You gave them a watch, a shirt, a Quran, a book, anything, whether it has a lot of monetary value or not. You took the time and you thought about that person, so you wanted to manifest your love for that person, so you gave them something. And they took that thing that you gave them and they just threw it in the corner of their house. And they didn't look at it. They didn't pay attention to it. They told you thank you. They said thank you. But the book that you gave them, they never read it. The clothes that you gave them, they never wore it. The gift that you gave them, they never used it. You never saw it on them. And if you did see it, it had dust on it. Now, a lot of you are extremely pious and righteous. That will probably daunt you. But a lot of us will say, I'm not giving that person anything again. Because they weren't grateful for what I gave them. But they told you thank you, though. They said thank you. But you didn't see the thanks manifested in their actions. They didn't use what you gave them properly. Or at all. What is Allah's opinion about us in this Islam that He gave us? Are we trying to find loopholes out of practicing it? There's a lot of people that He has chosen, that He could have chosen to be Muslim except us. He didn't have to choose any one of us. And He does not need any one of us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continues, وَلَا إِن كَفَرْتُمْ. And if you are ungrateful, if you manifest ingratitude, you hear the word kafar in there. like kafir. Same word. Ingratitude. If you are not grateful. Inna adhabi la shadid. Verily my punishment is severe. You see, the opposite is true. If you want ziyada, increase, more of your blessings, you have to be grateful for it. And gratitude is not just saying thank you. Gratitude is making use of that for which you are thankful of. But if you want to be sure, if you want to ensure that you lose the blessing that you have, just don't be grateful for it. Don't worry, Allah will relieve you of that blessing in a minute. Allah will take it right away from you and give it to someone who will be grateful for it. You know what they say, one man's treasure is another man's trash. How many people we know complain about their husbands or their wives to no end? That's their dhikr, the complaint against their spouse. And then soon, Allah will take it away from them. Then they'll be complaining about the single life. They'll be complaining about how there's no good men, there's no good women out here. But when you had a man, when you had a woman, you wasn't grateful for them. So Allah took them away from you. And now you're single, and you're still not grateful for that. See, even in solitude, you got time to reflect, you got time to think, you got time to ponder, you got time to analyze. And that's the definition of the true quote-unquote Sufi, the true quote-unquote practitioner of tasawwuf, or spiritual excellence, or spiritual purification. You are grateful for every situation that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put you in, whether it's an increase or decrease, more or less. If Allah gives you abundance, you're thankful for it. You're thankful for the situation that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put you in. If Allah restricts you, you're thankful for that. Gratitude. We are grateful for the ni'mah of al-Islam. Don't take your Islam for granted. A lot of us, we take our Islam for granted. A lot of us, we come from places where Islam was established traditionally. There's hundreds of years of Islam in that place. And we can't wait to get away from that place, to come to a place like this, to throw our Islam behind our back like it's a dirty rag. Meanwhile, there are some of us who've been looking for the truth. Then Allah removed the veils from our hearts or their hearts, and we're running, we're thirsty for this thing. Then you have some of us who are born into Muslim families, and we just looking for the quickest, easiest way out. Be thankful for where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put you at. The wise one is the one who learns from the mistakes of others. He doesn't have to go through it himself. May Allah increase our gratitude to Him. May Allah make us thankful for all of our blessings, especially the ni'mah of Islam. ربنا اتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ومن كسر ومن كسر تبارك وتعالى ونكرنا بإقامة الصلاة.